What if the very parts of yourself you fear the most, your doubts, your anger, your insecurities, were not obstacles, but a roadmap to your destiny? Carl Jung believed that within your darkness lies your true purpose. Today, we'll uncover how embracing your shadow can unlock your greatest potential. The shadow is the hidden, repressed part of ourselves that we are taught to deny from a young age. It consists of emotions, desires, and instincts that society deems unacceptable. Rage, envy, selfishness, vulnerability. Yet paradoxically, the very aspects we suppress often contain the keys to our greatest strengths. The more we reject them, the more power they have over us, shaping our behaviors in unconscious ways. When we ignore our shadow, it controls us through projection. The traits we despise in others are often reflections of what we refuse to acknowledge within ourselves. When someone's arrogance infuriates you, perhaps it's because you have been conditioned to deny your own need for self-expression. When another's ambition seems distasteful, it might be because you have suppressed your own hunger for success. The world acts as a mirror, constantly reflecting back the disowned parts of our psyche, yet most people fail to recognize this and continue to live in cycles of judgment and frustration. Jung believed that true individuation, becoming whole, requires integrating the shadow rather than rejecting it. This process involves radical self-honesty. One must confront the thoughts and impulses that arise in moments of anger, jealousy, or fear without immediately pushing them away. Instead of labeling them as wrong, one must ask, what is this feeling trying to teach me? The goal is not to indulge every impulse, but to understand its root. If you suppress your rage, you may become passive-aggressive, bitter, or resentful. But if you acknowledge it, you can redirect it into passion, assertiveness, and strength. If you deny your sadness, you risk emotional numbness. But if you embrace it, you develop deeper empathy and wisdom. Every part of you serves a purpose, and integrating these aspects makes you more powerful, more authentic, more aligned. The shadow does not only contain our darkness, it also holds our hidden potential. Many people avoid their shadow because it is easier to remain in the comfort of self-image rather than explore the unknown. Yet, the shadow is not a pit of destruction. It is a reservoir of untapped creativity. The most compelling artists, writers, and leaders channel their shadow rather than repress it. They transform their deepest wounds into stories that move the world, their suppressed anger into movements for change, their forbidden desires into innovations that challenge the status quo. The more you fear your own depths, the more you limit yourself. What if the parts of yourself you hide were actually the source of your genius? What if your discomfort was a signal pointing you toward your purpose? Facing the shadow requires stepping into discomfort. It means looking at the patterns in your life that you try to ignore, the relationships that trigger you, the fears that hold you back, the recurring thoughts that whisper at night. It requires recognizing that the people who irritate you the most are your greatest teachers. Instead of blaming them, ask, what does this reveal about me? Every intense emotional reaction is an invitation to explore something deeper within. The more aware you become of these patterns, the less they control you. Shadow integration also demands an acceptance of imperfection. Many people strive to be good by rejecting anything that does not fit their idealized self-image. They force themselves to be endlessly kind, agreeable, and accommodating, suppressing their own needs until resentment festers beneath the surface. Others deny their emotional depth, forcing themselves into rigid logic and control, terrified of appearing weak. Yet, perfection is an illusion, and denying certain emotions does not eliminate them. It only forces them to manifest in unconscious ways. The person who suppresses anger may develop chronic stress. The one who represses their desires may experience constant dissatisfaction. The one who refuses to acknowledge their vulnerabilities may sabotage relationships. Only by allowing yourself to be fully human, flaws included, can you become whole. Jung compared the shadow to a wild animal. If you try to cage it, it will thrash against the bars, waiting for an opportunity to break free. If you pretend it does not exist, it will lurk in the darkness, influencing your actions without your awareness. But if you approach it with respect, if you observe it, listen to it, and understand it, it becomes an ally rather than an enemy. Working with your shadow does not mean letting it rule you. It means developing a conscious relationship with it. It means channeling its energy in ways that serve you rather than sabotage you. It means recognizing that darkness is not something to be feared, but understood. The process of integration does not happen overnight. It is a lifelong journey that requires continuous self-reflection. One of the most effective tools for shadow work is journaling. Writing down your raw, unfiltered thoughts, without censorship, reveals patterns that might otherwise remain hidden. Pay attention to the emotions you avoid, the themes that repeat in your dreams, the discomfort that arises when faced with certain truths. Ask yourself questions that challenge your assumptions. What part of myself am I most afraid to reveal? What am I ashamed of? What qualities in others do I judge most harshly? What do I secretly crave but feel unworthy of? The answers to these questions will illuminate the aspects of yourself that need integration. Meditation and visualization are also powerful tools. Jung encouraged his patients to engage in dialogues with their shadow, imagining it as a separate entity and allowing it to speak. This technique, known as active imagination, helps bring unconscious material to the surface. If you visualize your shadow, what does it look like? What does it want to tell you? What emotions arise when you acknowledge it? Instead of dismissing the responses that emerge, approach them with curiosity. Another method of working with the shadow is through creative expression. Art, music, movement, any form of creativity allows hidden parts of the psyche to emerge without the limitations of logic. Often, what we cannot articulate in words finds a voice in artistic expression. The act of creation bypasses the critical mind, allowing deeper truths to surface. Many of history's greatest works were born from the depths of the creator's shadow. Their willingness to confront darkness allowed them to transform it into something meaningful. The way we interact with others also provides insight into our shadow. Every conflict, every emotional reaction, every moment of frustration holds a lesson. If someone's success makes you uncomfortable, ask yourself why. Do you believe you are unworthy of your own success? If someone's assertiveness angers you, could it be that you have denied your own right to take up space? The more you observe these patterns, the clearer your shadow becomes. Instead of reacting blindly, pause and reflect. What is being triggered? What is this moment teaching me? Carl Jung believed that true purpose is not something external to be found, but something internal to be uncovered. It emerges naturally when one aligns with their authentic self. Many people feel lost because they have spent their lives suppressing the very traits that would lead them to fulfillment. They ignore their instincts, silence their passions, and conform to expectations, never questioning why they feel unfulfilled. But purpose is not about pleasing others. It is about embracing the truth of who you are. It is about recognizing that your so-called flaws are often your greatest gifts in disguise. True transformation occurs when you no longer fear your shadow, but integrate it. When you stop judging yourself for your emotions and instead learn from them. When you reclaim the power that you once suppressed. The greatest leaders, the most compelling creators, the people who leave a lasting impact on the world, are not those who deny their darkness, but those who have made peace with it. They have taken their wounds and turned them into wisdom. They have looked into their own depths and emerged stronger. You do not need to seek your shadow. It is already with you, influencing you in ways you may not realize. The question is, will you continue to suppress it, allowing it to control you from the background? Or will you bring it into the light and reclaim the parts of yourself that you have abandoned? The choice is yours.